Hey Boat Dragons, welcome back to my channel. Glad you could be here. Today we're talking about sci-fi books that I really need to get to. Here we go. So I don't talk about sci-fi on my channel very much. I mostly read fantasy, but there are some sci-fi books that I've read from time to time. I'm a huge fan of the Hyperion Cantos. I've talked about those books on my channel. I've read Fahrenheit 451. I've read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? And so there's a few sci-fi novels that pop up here or there on my channel, but I mostly do fantasy. And that's not necessarily going to change. I'm mostly a fantasy guy, but I do want to read some more sci-fi. And I've got a few in particular that I want to talk to today. So make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. You know the drill. Help me out, support my channel, and away we go. We are talking sci-fi today. Starting with Foundation by Isaac Asimov. Now this is extremely important to me and high priority on my list, mainly because I want to read the book before the miniseries on Apple TV Plus comes out in September. And yep, you heard that right, it got a release date, September 17th, I think? I'd have to look at the date. I should have looked that up before I did this video, but yes, I am very, very excited for the Foundation series to start. I'm really digging some of the casting for it, but I know nothing about the book. I've never read it, so now is the time for me to pick up Foundation and give it a go, see what I think of it. No guarantees. Sci-fi does tend to be hit or miss for me, so some I like and some I don't. So as of right now, I'm excited to read it and see what it's all about. I've heard that if you're going to read sci-fi, Isaac Asimov is one of many that need to be read. So there it is. The Expanse is the second one. Now I think book 9 just released, and this is by James S.A. Corey, which is the amalgamation of two different authors, Daniel Abraham and Ty Frank. It's their pen name. And I've heard nothing but good things about the books, and if the TV series is any indication of how good the books are, I am ready to be blown away, because I cheated. I've already watched the series so far. Season 6 is not started yet, but I'm very excited to see where it goes, and I'm excited to read the story that brought it to life. So I need to get it done. Hopefully maybe even before season 6 starts. I doubt I'll read the series that fast, but who knows? We'll see. I doubt season 6 will probably be out for at least several more months. But I don't know exactly when I'm going to get to the story, so I probably will finish the TV series before I finish the books. But I've done it backwards before. I saw the first Lord of the Rings movie before I ever read the story, and it just spurred me on to want to read the story and see what it was all about. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to start The Expanse. Another series that I have heard is fantastic is Murderbot by Martha Wells. I know at least the first one is a novella. I think they're all novellas. That's my understanding. But I've heard nothing but good things. Well, I've heard a few downers, but for the most part, I'd say 95% of what I've heard is positive. And they look really fun. The premise, it seems right up my alley. I love a good satire, action, comedy, sci-fi. It's just kind of a blend of all those. So I'm looking forward to checking out Murderbot. I've heard it's really good. I've had it recommended to me several times. The next one I've kind of been on the fence about, and that is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. I really enjoyed the Aragon series, or I should say the Inheritance Cycle. I've always called it the Aragon series, since it follows Aragon. But I really enjoyed that series, and it had its flaws. There were some parts of the series that I was like, okay, this is way too long. But overall, it was a really great story. And I was kind of surprised when he decided to try out Sci-Fi. And he started hyping it way back, when he first started writing it 2 or 3 years ago. And it just released last year, I believe it was. Yeah, I think it released last September. And I've just kind of been on the fence with it. I think I do want to read it. I've heard good things about it. Depending on how hard the sci-fi is in the book, I may or may not go for it, but I'm willing to give it a chance because he is a really, really good author, and he grew a lot as the Inheritance Cycle progressed. So I'm anxious to see what he does with a science fiction world. And apparently he's created a multiverse, calling it the Fractalverse. So he's going to have more books in that universe, and if the first one's good, I can't wait to continue it. So we shall see. The next one is more of a author than it is one specific book, and that is Arthur C. Clarke. I've never read any of Arthur C. Clarke's books. I have never even seen 2001: A Space Odyssey. I know, but before you say anything, I know I'm way behind on classic science fiction cinema. I get it. I know some of the jokes, rotate the pod please, Hal. I get it. I know some of the lingo, but I've never seen it. And I'm very curious. I've heard really good things about Arthur C. Clarke. One book in particular, other than 2001: A Space Odyssey, that I've been curious to read is Childhood's End. I put it on my TBR a long time ago. I read the premise and it sounded pretty interesting. And I think they made a mini-series of it a while back, but I never saw it. So maybe I'll find that at some point if I ever read the book and watch it. I like to do that with books. If there's an adaptation, I read the book and then watch the TV show or the movie. And we'll see how that goes down. But if you have other books that you would recommend by Arthur C. Clarke, feel free to leave them in the description below. I'll check them out, and if I like it, I'll add it to my TBR. So, and that sucker is getting long, so no promises. And finally, I want to talk about the Dune sequels. I have only read the first Dune book. Well, I take that back. I started Dune Messiah, and I think part of the problem was it had been so long since I'd originally read Dune that I just wasn't clicking with Dune Messiah. I got kind of lost. So I do want to go back and reread it, or start reading it again, because I never got very far in the book. I am planning a reread of Dune this year in preparation for the movie coming out, which I think it's now been pushed to October 22nd. So I've got some time, and I want to reread Dune, and then I do want to continue with the other novels in the Sextet, I think. It's a 6-book series. So I know there's other books in the series, more of an expanded universe, but I want to start by reading the first 6 books that Frank Herbert himself actually wrote, and we'll see where we go from there. I'm kind of a stickler for authors who die and then it gets picked up by somebody else to write. Specifically, it got picked up by his son, Brian Herbert. Nothing wrong with him, I'm sure. It's just, I don't know. There's something about the original author's work being so much better than anything that somebody else would attempt to continue. So, if you've experienced that in the particular case of Dune, and the sequels and the expanded universe, let me know. I'd be interested to hear your feedback on it. So those are the 6 sci-fi novels. One's an author, I know, Arthur C. Clarke. But those are the 6 that I really want to get to reading eventually, very soon if possible. Let me know if you have others that you would recommend to me in the comments. I would love to chat about those with you. And I hope that you have an amazing weekend, my friends. Make sure that you are reading more books, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.